Guys, girls, the world. Welcome to another episode of the Corner Store Podcast. I appreciate you. This is the final episode of season 2. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. Vroom, vroom, vroom. I don't know. I just want to do silly stuff like that. But I was thinking about what can this episode be about? This is another solo episode. And I was going to go into where I'm from. Talk a little bit about that. In the season on that note, growing up in Florida, because wherever you grow up, people don't know about that state or that city or that country. They don't know. They heard about it. They want to hear some insight, some ins and outs, some things that people may not know that happens in your state. So first and foremost, Florida has the reputation of being crazy. And I can say that's 100% true. Florida man. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's something like I think they put like bath salts or something in the water. Cuz people in Florida are a little crazy. Something uniquely about Florida, let me just start off with the whole state. It looks like, a gun, or it looks like something, a sexual object. We have that reputation. Just the bad part of the United States hanging off the side like that. Anyway, South Florida and North Florida, completely different Floridas. Okay? Completely different. Let's first start with South Florida. South Florida has a bit Caribbean influence, Caribbean vibe, Caribbean type things. Like, it's a lot of people who speak Spanish, like Caribbean Spanish. It's a difference, people. It's a difference. Caribbean food, Jamaican food, Cuban food, Haitian food. A couple of people from South America, Central America. It's a melting pot of the Caribbean. But yeah, South Florida. So it's palm trees, it's beaches. It's beaches and it's beaches. Literally, I was there like I don't know, like maybe a year ago, and in South Florida, nowhere near the beach. I mean, the beach is like maybe 8 minutes away, but lady, full bikini, walking into the breakfast place, and it's completely normal. Like down there in the Miami area, close to the beach. So South Florida, completely different. Completely different. A little bit more diversity, if I should say that. Yeah, a little bit more. It's just different people because there's so many different people from the Caribbean area. You have the beach, you have the palm trees. Um, but dang it, you got that sun. That sun. It gets hot. It doesn't get like to 100 or anything like that, but with the humidity in the air, the moisture in the air, and 90 something degrees, you're going to sweat. You're going to sweat. It gets hot sometimes, especially in the summertime. It gets hot in the summertime. Excuse me. Which leads me to a theory, right? Is the reason that I think they don't want a lot of minorities on golf courses because they never have any shade. I went trying to golf one time, and I'm like, I can't do this. There's no trees. You're trying to burn me up. Literally, you're trying to cook me. You're trying to literally make me like, nah, I'm not trying to get burned up by the sun, bro. This sport is not that serious. But yeah, super hot, you sweat. South Florida. Um Central Florida, we really don't need to talk about it. It's nothing really. It's nothing there. It's nothing there. It's nothing there. Besides Orlando. Orlando is like the tour capital almost of the world, I think, sometimes. Never lived in Orlando, but when I go there, I mean, it's literally people from every country embark on this city, for all the theme parks. And if you don't know, if you've never been to Orlando, literally all the theme parks are in one city. If you're a kid, Orlando has to be like the shit. Like it has to be like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is it. You got Disney World. You got Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios, Wet and Wild. It's a water park, people. A water park called Wet and Wild. I don't know if it's still there, but you had that, and you had SeaWorld, and you had another theme park, and you had miniature golf, and you had this, and you had that. It's a dream. It's a dream. But if you were a kid growing up in Florida back in the day, not so much. Not so much. I mean, I love Disney World, don't get me wrong, and I like going there when I was a kid, but we went there all the time. Like you went with the church group, you went with the summer camp, you went with your high school, and you went just because your parents took you. You went. That was like the main thing to do. And I'm like, dude, I'm 16. I can't get on It's a Small World again. This is creepy. They still had the same right now. I'm good. I'm good. So that's Middle Florida. That's Middle Florida. Then you're gonna get to North Florida. And North Florida, let me see how can I put this. You might as well call North Florida South Georgia or South Alabama. There's nothing wrong with that, buddy. Nothing wrong with it at all. Uh, you're not from here, are you? Florida has some small cities. Some small cities. That's literally like almost 10 years behind everybody else. You see, like, oh, what, like, dang, look at that. That happened to Trayvon Martin. Super crazy, right? Uh, Small city, Florida. Small city. No small, yeah, I'm not going to some of those places. Not doing it at all. It was a place off I-75 riding past Tampa. This guy, he had a huge, I guess he had a open space backyard next to the highway. He flew the biggest Confederate flag you ever seen. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm just gonna fly my little flag up beside the flagpole. No, it was like you can see it from space. It was a huge Confederate flag. This is that type of vibe sometimes in those places. They never seen anything. Miami will blow their mind. And it's so funny. We both live. That's both the same state, but two different places. Two different places. North Florida, yeah, it gets pretty small, and it gets really Civil War reenactment type vibes. Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Who wants to pretend? You see these people? We want to reenact the Civil War? What in the holy hell? Don't look for me to be in that. No, I don't want to play any extras in that production. You, sir, come here. You know what part you're playing? Yes, I do. Now, I'm good. But who wants to reenact something that was tragic? That's crazy. That's crazy. Could you imagine fighting in the Civil War and be like, you know what? 200 years from now, people are going to pretend to do what we're doing right now, which is freaking out and getting killed. I don't mean that's me, man. I just think about the long game. Like you're gonna do all these things right now that seem noble and just and right. In 100 years from now, people are gonna have a picnic right where you got shot. Anyway, I'm just not a fan of the Civil War reenactments. Growing up in South Florida was cool. Um, my dad was take no prisoners, no nonsense kind of guy. He was a hustler. Like he was a word of mouth construction worker. And what I mean by that is that there was no websites back then or anything like that. Basically, he just got referrals. Like he would do something, he would like build a wall or a plaster or a ceiling. He can build like little small houses and stuff like that. And people would tell people and refer him and refer him. So as you can imagine, some months was great months, some months not so much. But he was really good at what he did. He was really good. I remember one time he took me to work with him, um, and this was Elizabeth Alex, and I know her name because she was the nightly news person on the local news station. You know how you got your local news station in whatever city you're in? Imagine going to her house. So I knew, yeah, that was a big deal. He did some work for her. She had a very nice house, by the way. Yeah, so he was a hustler. Sometimes he used to take us to the beach, me and my sisters, and we will collect cans. Hey, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes we'll collect cans. He'll have us collect cans because if you turn in aluminum cans, you get money. Hence why you see all those homeless people with cans in those states. You can get money from. So we collect cans, but he would tell us, put a little bit of sand because we were at the beach. Put a little bit of sand in those cans, just a little bit to make it weigh. I didn't know what he was doing. He wanted them to weigh more. He wanted the cans to weigh a little bit more. That's a hustler for you, boy. I'm gonna figure out a way to get these dollars. I salute him. I salute my dad. So that was always fun. That was always cool. When I was younger, though, in Florida, I used to get my hair cut every other week by a guy named JB. He used to cut my hair, and my grandmother used to take me to get my hair cut. And the cool thing about it is that my grandma didn't pay him. My grandma used to bake pies, and he's like, "Oh, as long as you bring me a pie every time he needs a haircut, I'll cut your hair." And I can remember him saying that, and I used to go and get my hair cut from him and things like that. That was pretty cool growing up in Florida, pretending to be a Ninja Turtle. I used to do that at my other grandmother's house. Climb mango trees. So I never lived in a place that had apple trees. You know how you hear like the all American story about, oh, cherry tree in the backyard, apple tree. No, we grew up with mangoes, mango trees. I had my grandparents' house had a mango tree in the backyard, an orange tree and a mango tree. That was our fruit. Like I said, it's really tropical. Florida was a cool place. It was a cool place. I can remember during Christmas time, we'll go out and we'll play basketball. The neighborhood basketball goals. That was always cool. That was always fun. The neighborhood I was in, it was okay. Put it this way, we had a neighborhood crackhead. I think his name was Steve. He's a nice guy, but he was clearly on drugs. Clearly on drugs, and he would do anything you asked him to do for $1. Nothing bad. We're like, hey man, can you sing and dance? He'll sing and dance. And he used to hang out at the basketball court. That's the only reason that's popping up in my head right now. I can remember that guy just hanging out at the basketball court. Yeah, and he wasn't violent or anything. He was just a person hooked on crack. So I remember him. I remember trying to think about the good things I can remember growing up there, man. I can remember the Christmas mornings of getting a bike. Kids don't really do that these days. Like wanting a bike and going outside and seeing everybody else that got a bike on Christmas. And we just take over the streets of bicycles just everywhere. That was always fun. That was always fun. One thing I also do miss about Florida, like about Florida, or do when I can get back is go to the beach. And I took that for granted growing up, but now, not so much. Just to be able to go to the beach and see the ocean is such a calming feeling. It's like a reflection type feeling when you can do that. When you can go there, you can hear the ocean, you can see the ocean, you can see how wide and massive it is, and think to yourself that, hey, things are maybe not that bad right now. Maybe I can just figure this thing out. That was always a cool part about Florida that I took for granted. Being able just to go to the beach and experience the beach. So that was always a plus growing up there. So those are some of the things that I liked about Florida. Those are some of the things that, makes me me being from that state. So guys, this is the last episode. Like I said, this is the last episode of season 2. I'm gonna do season 3. I'm gonna put out that season 3 episode 1. I don't know when, but um, probably next week, just to stay in rotation and grow this thing, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me on the corner store. Listen, it's gonna get bigger. It's gonna get better. Remember this day, because we're gonna have some guests. We're gonna talk about some topics that people need to talk about, and most importantly, all this stuff is going to be funny. It's going to be stuff you can relate to, and it's going to be good. And I appreciate you rocking. I appreciate the people who have downloaded the episodes. I appreciate the people who have sent in a donation. I appreciate all you guys, and the people who just listen, or the people with crazy comments. I appreciate everybody. All right, guys. Peace.